Hi everybody, this is Tega and welcome back to my channel. If today is your first time, you're very welcome. If you've been before and you're back again, thank you so much for stopping by. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make a ruffle shawl. Very easy to make. So let's get into the video. So you can use a satin fabric, you can use an organza or tulle fabric to make what I'm making, whatever you feel comfortable using, but not a very strong cotton fabric. So I'm gonna be working with 110 inches for the length, and the width is 20 inches, but I've added half an inch so for the sewing allowance, which you would see in the video. So 110 inches is the total length of the scarf. This fabric is 110, so I couldn't go beyond it. You can add more if you want. And the width I'm working with is 20 inches, but once I fold it over and sew, it's gonna be 10 inches for your shawl. So here I'm just measuring the 20 inches there for the width, and later you would see me adding the 0.5 to it, the half an inch. So I went back to add the half an inch there. The next stage is to start cutting. Remember the measurement 110 for the entire length inches and 20.5 for the width of the ruffle. So if you don't have up to 110 inches in length fabric, you can stitch together two fabrics to achieve this length. Don't worry about it, just get the necessary amount of fabric needed and stitch them together. That is fine to achieve your length. So here I'm gonna fold that fabric over. Once folded, we then have the 10 inches required for the ruffle. Then we're gonna stitch 1/4 of an inch down for the seam allowance, right through 1/4 of an inch before we stitch the other side. So you want to take 1 meter in length for your pull string and 2 inches for the width of your pull string. In this video, I first took 2 meters for the length, but later on, after I completed my sewing, I took 1 meter. So what I will do with the pull string is to fold it at the edge there and fold it twice and ultimately fold it like that. I went ahead to stitch down the 1/4 of an inch for the 110 inches in length, but I left 4 inches for the turning. I did not sew 4 inches on that side. You want to trim as much rough edges. Trim, trim, trim. Because it's a fabric that frills easily, you want to be very careful. I went ahead to overlock, the edges. Can you see that all nice and smooth? Make sure you leave about 3 to 4 inches for thinning the fabric over once all the edges are sewn. Don't forget that. That is very important. That means you'll be sewing about 106 inches and leave at least 4 inches for turning. Once that is done, I'll want to go ahead and sew the side there and there, leaving 1 inch in the middle, because you need the space for the pull string. So from the midpoint, it's going to be half an inch on one side and half an inch on the other side to make the 1 inch. And the same applies to the other end of the fabric, meaning half an inch on each side at the midpoint. So here you can see I'm dipping my hands through to turn the fabric over. So leave that space, that inches, for you to be able to, pull with your hand. As you can see, I could use my hand to pull it. It was so easy. So you want to apply the same technique to yours when you're doing yours to make the sewing experience easy for you. So don't forget to go back and hem down that 4 inches. Once that is done, you want to iron it flat so it lays flat. Because I work with this kind of fabric all the time, I decided just to pin right away, but later I ironed the fabric. As I was clipping down, I was finding my midpoint. The sewing, the straight sewing must align. You must make sure it falls on the middle. So you have 5 inches on one side and 5 inches on the other side. That's how it works out. So I went ahead to sew that down, that 4 inches I told you about. So you can decide to hem or use your sewing machine to run it over. Then can you see that 1 inch opening there? Yeah. So you've got that 1 inch of both ends where the pull string is going to be. So you want to sew half an inch on that side and half an inch on the other side to make the 1 inch we are looking for the pull string. So once that is ironed, here I've gone ahead to make sure it's well ironed before I start my sewing. Then again, I decided to make my pull string after folding it over like you saw before. So this is my pull string, and you would get it through the 1 inch allowance we're gonna leave on the main ruffle. So as you can see, I've gone ahead to sew that half an inch on each side, and you can see it's easy to pull the string through. Once you get to that stage, I want you to watch me as I pull it and make the ruffle. Don't forget, I told you I went ahead to cut some of the string. It was too long for me. So I decided to go with 1 meter rather than 2 meters of pull string. Look at that. So you want to go and find the midpoint, the back of your neck where you want it to be, and you sew that down with stitches. Then you want to sew both hands down as well, because I don't want any movement on this ruffle. I just want it the way I have set it. You can still play with it in the middle. You can still play, as you can see, you can still play around with it, but it's not going to move more than that. You want a steady ruffle. You don't want it messy. So you want to stitch it in the middle where you've got the back of your neck, and you want to go to where the pull string is and stitch down as well. So there's no movement on 3 sides. How beautiful does that look? It can jazz up any boring dress. Guys, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share this video if you love it. And I'll see you in my next video. But before then, make sure you take care of yourself. Bye for now.